A very good evening to all of you. Today is kind of the last session. So this can be a winning innings for the last session. So, Srinivas, you want to say anything before we start the last session? We were opening batsmen, now last ball.
Okay. I think this is, for me, it's a very interesting session because whatever we discussed so far with regard to citywide inclusive sanitation, I think practitioners such as us, we need to have an understanding in terms of uh, financing sanitation, particularly from the perspective of cost and benefit. Sometimes cost benefit analysis programs like this is not easy, and we need some live examples to understand. It's easy to say if it is a business. Here it has some tangible and intangible benefits. So how do we go about doing it? And how do we do a decision making based on this cost benefit analysis and communicate to our administrators, our politicians is very, very important for making right kind of investment choices. So I think from my perspective, what Dr. Sitaram is doing is actually bringing a very practical live case of Tamil Nadu and his own experience to take us through the cost benefit analysis of a development sector such as sanitation. It is actually not, I mean, I would say there are very few cases written up, and I am glad that he and his partners have managed to do a detailed exercise of this in Tamil Nadu case. So I think I encourage everybody to be attentive, and knowing him is going to make it much more interactive than like me talking all the time. So I now request Dr. Sitaram to lead the conversation.
So today's class, I know you all enjoy group work, so we have allocated a lot of time for group work. And it's a virtual course, so one way is to again gather in a plenary and listen to each other, not lecturing, but actually finding out as a faculty, I want to know what is it that you still don't know clearly and you want help. So in a way, it's also an opportunity for us to find out what else should we have given to you. And this is the meeting that we had among the faculty last week, kind of reflecting on the course. So your feedback in the last hour or so in this class is so important for us to understand how far we have come, because you are the leaders and champions. As I mentioned on the day one, you are the persons going to make a change on the ground. So today's class is about literally that in a way. So it's an exercise, group exercise. Time is very limited, but I hope we can make the best use of the time. Next slide, please. What we have done is, we know you all come from various places, so you have a lot of background information, but to make the exercise meaningful, we have identified or given you 3 sample cities. It can be anything, it can be your own city, which you're familiar with, but you can change it if you think it should be closer to your city. The idea is that city A is kind of relatively wealthy city. City B is not so wealthy, and city C is even poorer with slums and so on. So these are something you can relate to any one of them, but we thought to make the exercise meaningful, we give you a city. It could be possible, right? Because you're all civil servants working, you could be posted in a city which is not maybe your choice. So then you start the work, which is what I have seen. So think of it like that, that you're given this city, and as it happens during your assignment as a civil servant, you have like 2 years, some even shorter time, and you have to do something. So here, sorry, you have 30 minutes, you have to do something. So that, think of it like that. So you have to do something with all the knowledge that you've got in the 10 weeks, use them. We're not asking you to find new ideas, but try to use the knowledge that we have managed to give you in the last 10 weeks, do something about it. And next slide, please. So we have given you some guide for you. We have given you an Excel table. So these are, you can go it horizontal way or vertical way. You don't have to fill all of the tables, but look at, again, you have 30 minutes. Look at where you will put your finger to make a change. It's not that like some comprehensive exam, you are filling all the things. We don't want you to spend time just filling the sheet. That is just a guide to see that this is where you could look to rather than just having a general discussion. So this Excel sheet, you can spend some time to looking at what are the issues you want to look at, who are the stakeholders you would look at. So it's a matrix. So during the group, discuss that. Then to guide you, we had given for pre-reading the Tamil Nadu Urban Sanitation Improvement Plan. This is a scholarly paper done by a professor in the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy. This time he couldn't come to teach here, but we do have a class where he teaches for government leaders. So if you're interested, we can share the recording of his lecture where he gives a complete, it's actually a 2-day lecture with exercises, how to do the cost benefit analysis for practitioners. So this is not for students, it's for practitioners, so that you understand why this is important and how it is done so that you are able to appreciate. But in this class, we have given you his result, and we also have an Excel sheet for you, the analysis that you can play with. So all these have been shared with you already. And in the class, you can discuss, maybe some of your colleagues have read it, some have not read it. Again, this is the usual way, right? When you're posted in a town, you don't know many things, you call people to ask. So in the 30 minutes in your groups, share who knows, talk about it, who doesn't know, maybe read it. But we have also put one slide on it. Next slide. So this is the one slide summary of what is in that paper. Very simply put, it looks at all the costs, and this is very easy for you to know, so you don't have to lecture, all the costs involved in fixing the sanitation for the selected towns. But what you would not have thought about seriously is that it has also monetized all the benefits that can be attributed to that. So I'd like you to look at it very carefully. What are the costs? What are the benefits? They have explained all the assumptions, the numbers, and all of that, which are all confirmed from the field and also by the consultants who had worked on it. And they gave a lecture in our class here in one of the weeks. There's the Institute of Human Settlements, IIHS. Then more importantly, the last part is they have also estimated what is called the net present value. And this is something, if you didn't know about it or were not conscious of it, it's important to look at it. Finally, costs and benefits, they have a value in terms of time. And that's why we have a problem with sanitation. All the costs are today's cost or this year's cost or when you build it. But benefits come over a period of time. If I have a benefit which will come 10 years later, I don't know its value now. And that's why we are not able to add and subtract cost and benefit easily. Again, we have got an Excel sheet which explains what happened, and you can play with that Excel sheet as well during your discussion. Now, in this case study, they have evaluated 3 scenarios, and you can look at it. And he has come about that the benefit to cost ratio is 1.22. As it is summarized, what does that mean? That means if I invested $1 or $100 on that improvement plan, the benefit is 122. That means if it is money paid back, I get 22% profit, net present value. So it's a good business actually, but that's not enough. That's what you're going to look at. Is 22% enough, or should it be 50%? Or if it is lower, what happens? So those are the things you're going to see depending on each city. The example that I gave you, are you meeting that, or is it much lesser, much lower? And that's the point we would like you to look at during your discussion. Now, this is just a 1-minute slide only, so I'm not going to answer questions to you, which you should do during the discussions among your group. That's the idea. You have enough knowledge among you and given to you in the last 10 weeks or so, so you should be able to discuss among yourselves. Next slide, please. So in your exercise, what you're going to do is, with this knowledge, with this cost benefit analysis, a good plan should pass this test of cost benefit analysis. That's the idea. So your plan should be not just an idea, but something that's convincing, something that is persuasive, and we can put money on it. So that is what you're going to prepare. You can collect maybe 8 or 10 slides, but it's totally up to you, where you're explaining your plan. What are you going to do? How will it cost? What cost you considered? What benefits you considered? And then show the number, if you can, up to the team, how you want to present. And in the case also, we are given some guide questions. So you can use that as cues. You can try to answer those questions. So those are the assignments or tasks for you during the 30 minutes. Next slide, please. So what is more important is, after you have done this in your group, please present to the rest of the class. So we will have plenary presentation. Now, please be respectful of others' time. So the group that goes first, if you take a lot of time, then others cannot present. So please keep within your time. Present very quickly in 5 minutes what your key message is and what your solution is. Don't explain the background and discussion. That is not the time for this. Then we will discuss maybe some questions. Then we wrap up.
So as per the Excel sheet, the stakeholders are identified, and then we need to provide some recommendations to them so that the city comes under Swiss and services are available to everyone. So for the first policymakers, I think we need to have policies and we need to plan in a manner so that all the assets in the city is GIS mapped, which includes incorporation of bylaws, building bylaws, so that every household have a septic tank. Sewage tax is introduced, introduction of development charges. There should be FSM policy. A much focus is to be given on IEC, BCC and SBCC for the population. The city must have differential circle rates. There should be a policy for new settlements. There should be grievance handling mechanism. Master plan for the city for next 25 years should be ready. The FSI, by FSI I mean FAR. The FAR of the city should be enhanced from 1. Global FSI is 1. It should be improved. It should be enhanced to 1.5 or 2 if possible. We should promote linear development of the city. The master plan should capture this. There should be mandatory use of treated wastewater and nutrition and energy recovery. There should be convergence between water supply, waste treatment mechanism and other related departments. The policy should be gender sensitive and should be inclusive. And policy related to occupational safety and PPE for the city should be ready and enforced. So for the institutional elements, we see that there should be 2 separate apex bodies for handling sewerage and septage. Hierarchy at ward, circle and sewerage district levels should be in place. City should be divided into 3 sewerage zones and 2 septage zones. Each district to have its own authority for ground level coordination. RWAs, CBOs, NGOs and private players to be defined to have their defined roles and responsibilities, and SPVs should be introduced. In capacity development part, all members of RWA and residents to be educated, all staffs to be trained in line with their KPIs, all institutions to be equipped with man and machine, a training and resource center to be set up for continuous skill enhancement, use of IoT and other web-based technologies should be promoted, artificial intelligence to be used for data capturing and analysis, organize retreat experience sharing exercises, conduct organization development exercise, conduct TNA training need assessment exercise at regular intervals, prepare inventory of human resources, man and machine, provide toolkits and cross-learning opportunities. So all regularize household user charges collection, abolish sewer tax from households, tax imposed by municipality, create corpus for introducing new technology and emergency repairs, capex to be funded by SPVs recovered over a period through development charges, imposed on building approvals, OPEX through user charges, no government funds to be tapped as city per capita income is excellent, high. Where technological options are considered, MBR should be preferred for STPs and FSTPs. There should be in situ drain treatment process. 6 FSTPs should be in place for this city. Natural systems to be adopted. All drains terminate in geobags for collection of solid and dewatering of the drainage system. The central government mainly should be responsible to put in place guidelines and functioning mechanism they should put in place monitoring mechanism. They should also put in place institutional arrangement and introduce complete spectrum of solutions and technology available. At central level, there should be a national mission for wastewater management, which overlooks all operations across the country, which is part of the city. Make provisions for studying and experiencing international success stories. Capacity building of national and state level functionaries should be taken up by the central government. Suitable provisions in central budget should be there. Suitable guidelines for expenditure by state should be in place. The the business model should be adopted, should be based on HAM, PPE, DBOT or BOT, depending on local conditions and availability of private stake players. Local governments, mayor, he should provide an ambient policy and support to the corporation ULP for taking and prioritizing expenses on sewage system. Synergize all members belonging to different groups. There should be political balancing done by mayor. Local approvals should be provided by mayors. Responsible divisions, relating divisions. So overall policy for the city should be made by responsible division. Overall policy for sewerage district should be controlled by relating division 1, and overall policy for FSM should be controlled by relating division 2. And other stakeholders should actively get involved in communication and fund providing. All members should synergize, all members belonging to different groups headed by municipal commissioner. Relating division can be headed by sewerage engineers and plus multidisciplinary team should be in place. So all these divisions will basically be involved in policy formulation, monitoring and evaluation, technology and processes, and carry on economics and cost benefit analysis, communication and information dissipations. The city should have local approvals. They should have a 10-year plan, an annual plan. There should be annual operating plan based on capex and opex, and there should be funds available for the same. Suitable technology should be identified from spectra of technology available.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Sir, excuse me, sir. You have 1 minute, sir. I'm running 1 minute time.
Okay. So this is how we have captured. Now we'll go to the presentation, sir. One minute. I'll reshare my presentation. Is the presentation visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
The GDP of the city B is around 1.6 lakhs per capita, which is almost equal to India's per capita GDP. The population of city is 10 lakhs. There are 2 slum areas with total population of 4 lakhs. And there is a commercial building waste population is around 0.2 million per waste equivalent. And there are administrative divisions with total 200 square kilometers of the city, with 50 square kilometers centrally occupied and others have 150 square kilometers. So there is lots of open space in the city. So population is centered at 2 places, one central and in 2 slum areas. There are interceptor sewerage systems, and there is one STP. And there is no record of fecal sludge collection system functional in the city, and river passes to the city. So what we are proposing that we will not be imposing any new tax on the population. There is one STP and 2 FSTPs are to be commissioned. Every household should have toilets. City to have common toilets, which includes women and transgender in separate toilet complexes. Natural forces to be deployed for treatment of sewer. There is lots of open space, and afforestation is to be done. So the Excel sheet that we discussed is shown in the next slides. These roles, responsibilities, policies, funding, and technology has been discussed. So we need to conduct a baseline survey, conduct socio-economic survey at household level so that we get data, collect information required for cost benefit analysis, collate and calculate cost benefit analysis, share with stakeholders. It is irrespective. Now our group is of view that irrespective of the cost benefit, sanitation services must be improved and access provided to one and all. So there are 2 questions. For the first question, our answer seems like to be monitor area specific monitoring of sale of ORS, sale of anti-diarrheal drugs, sale of saline water, record reasons for absence of students, and observe death certificates. And some data can also be collected from hospitals. For question 2, the factors we need to we need to factor in benefits related to reuse of treated wastewater and recovery of energy and nutrition, which generally is not done, so that we can get a higher NPA. CBA is generally never correct. We have observed that CBA is generally never correct, and therefore it should not be given importance as we are learning to calculate the same. And economic benefits derived from sanitary services should be dealing with services to humankind and ecosystem. Thank you, sir. That's all. Thank you. The entire group.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So do others have any questions to group 5? We can have 1 or 2 questions. Other group members, do you have any questions? It was quite elaborate. You had worked extensively on the Excel sheet. Congratulations. But the presentation also you had covered, and you had asked many questions, which you had opinions on. What about other group members? Anybody, anyone, any comment or any questions to them? Clarifications?
We have a hand raised from Hema, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Ma'am,
go
please.
Hello, good evening. Am I audible?
Yes.
My question is like in such kind of like cost and benefit analysis, like how to actually account the benefits of the environmental benefits, like tangible and intangible benefits are there. How to take into account these kind of, how to quantify those benefits, like suppose if whatever indirect benefits we are having. So how to quantify that kind of benefits in such kind of CBA analysis? So it's a kind of very comprehensive analysis. Like it needs a lot of factors and a lot of quantification in terms of like environmental accounting and calculating the indirect effects. So how to take into account those things in such kind of CBA? Because it is really a comprehensive exercise, cost benefit analysis. Thank you.
This is a question to the group, or you want general answer from me?
It's a general comment, sir. Like if we are working
we'll
on
take that. I will respond to that later. So if there's any specific to the group, please do so also. Anybody else? Otherwise, we'll go to the next group. I see a comment. Group 3 is ready to present now. So then shall we move on to group 3? So thank you from group 5. Very good presentation. So let's present hear from group 3 then, if others are okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Who is going to share screen and who is going to speak?
Shashwat, could you please share the screen for group 3? Okay, so while Shashwat is sharing the presentation slide, we just had finished our presentation, and we have a scenario with CTC, and which considered to be the poorest city in terms of GDP in the city. Shashwat, could you please share the slide now, if that's possible? So while Shashwat presenting, I'll just give you a brief scenario about the city because I don't want to waste time, precious time. Okay, so Shashwat, you leave this. So just giving you a scenario of this city, because city has the lowest GDP and then limited paying capacity of the people. So if you have limited GDP, then you have a limited paying capacity of the people. So we need to consider this. So there are poor people, and we can't compare this with the big cities where we have already invested dollars in many years. Then only 5% population are connected with sewage, and which is also centrally located, right? And then 0.5 million people lives in 2 slums, which are most vulnerable people, and then may not be living in a good living condition. 95% of the population depends on the on-site containment, and we need to have some specific arrangement. So while we see the Tamil Nadu case, it talks about phase 1, phase 2, and phase 1 and phase 2 is going to consider a bigger city, while the third phase will consider this kind of city will be considered in phase 3. And then I don't see that this is fair to leave them while we complete phase 1 and 2. Then safe disposal of fecal sludge is not known, because there are private operator, and where they are dumping this fecal sludge, nobody knows. Government don't have any control over it. And then there are around 0.1 million people living in commercial buildings. So there could be potential for getting some money to fund this system. Next, Sashwat. Okay, I'm not going to get into a lot of details, but then we have highlighted some very specific pointer here for different stakeholders basically, and in all 5 beams of our work basically. So one is policymaker, and then here we really want to see that city should have, and policy maker should lead the CWS planning basically, which is also equity focused. And then also they need to work a lot in terms of developing regulation and policy. And then we see that our previous presenters said that CBA can't be really a good measure. But I really, and we as a group, we already think that CBA could be a case building exercise for us basically. So when we do the CBA, the first thing before building a case to invest in this city, so I think we want to use this, and then we really want policymaker to emphasize on doing a cost benefit analysis, so that we have case we can share with the donors like ADBI, because we already have Sitaram from ADBI. We can give this kind of cases to different stakeholders so that they can fund actually, because city may not be having enough fund basically. The second one is about looking for blended financing from multinational partners, banks. So this is also something where policymaker has to do a lot of work. In terms of considering co-treatment in the existing STP, and also doing some specific work at on-site disposable technology, because we see that there is a commercial building, and this specific thing that can be catered to around 100,000 people. So that's also a big chunk actually. The second one is about central government, and then we try to map all the partners and the government department who will be coming together, ministers who will be coming together. So we have talked about directives for universal CWISS, which is also equity focused. We talked about a lot of SOPs, and then we talk about central role of Ministry of Urban Affairs in terms of city sanitation plan financing, MOU for blended financing, because that's going to be a new for smaller city. And then equity aspect is something that needs to be centrally. So we need to think about subsidized costing for the poor people, and then the kind of costing arrangement that will help the last mile people basically. Next, Sashwat. Okay, and this one is about local government. So we see that local government could play a major role in terms of overall implementation of CWIS basically. So political priority should be there in terms of CWIS. So somebody at mayor level should focus that I need a comprehensive plan of the city. So we don't want to work in a bits and pieces, but we need a comprehensive plan. And then based on that, we can do a political leadership, prioritization, fund allocation, all this. Second one is UADD. Then we divided this city level governance in 3 parts. So one is UADD himself, so at CMO level, city commissioner level, and then we also thought about 2 specific divisions. So one is division of health, and then there is an engineering division. So what would be their specific task? So for UADD, it's about regulation, finalizing regulation, and disseminating them. Then also finalizing user fees, finances allocation, all these things to be done by ULB. Then health is a very specific department, and it looks after the implementation of Swachh Bharat mission also, and then other FSTP related business, especially in Madhya Pradesh. So then there is about risk-based planning, also linking with health benefit linkages, sanitation related mortality.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, you have another 1 minute for wrapping up.
Yeah. And then also sustained livelihood for sanitation workers is something also that needs to be focused, and that would be job of the health division. Then engineering is mostly about having an inclusive DPR, how to connect all the households which are also fathers, and then also quality engagement in terms of with the partners, with the contractor, overall housing. Next, Ashwat. Quick. Okay, right. So this is the last one, I think, and then we have the role of citizens. So this is also related, their participation in terms of planning itself. then also contributing in terms of sanitation taxes, adopting a correct sanitation technology at household level, getting connection from sewerage if sewerage is going to come in a couple of years. Then for service provider level, the private sector, we will have a cost benefit analysis and we will share with them. They need to adhere to the rules and regulations. They also need to see the financial sustainability for operation, livelihood opportunity for public in the city, so they can engage the local people to operate and doing these things. Then we have identified role of development partners for complementary funding, for UN organizations, for different organizations, on advocacy and support for CWS planning, capacity.
Sorry, sir. That time is
last slide. Then I will only speak 2 sentences there.
okay.
So I should go to the last slide. Okay, next one. Right. So in this thing, we have considered that we need to get data from different sources, but then we can also support in terms some kind of longitudinal study to see the mortality and morbidity data. We can also see increased value of urban area property, because this is also something we don't count actually, because when you have better sanitation system, your property value also increase. We already have a study that when you have sanitation system in the household, people can save around 50,000 per year. So this kind of study is something that we can do. And then, considering phase 1 and phase 2 and doing cost benefit analysis, and also considering phase 3 would be really high cost intervention, but we may need to consider the history of the money that is invested in phase 1 and phase 2 city, one thing. And then we are working with, going to work with most vulnerable population who already live in a bad situation right now. And this will require a significant improvement. And then we can add a lot of other cost saving in terms of, pollution, reduce pollution to the water bodies, the other morbidity related to malaria, dengue, because the overall situation is going to. So thank you very much. I think it was a rapid fire, but that's fine.
Thank you so much, sir.
Your group has done a lot of work as well. I see that you have done homework even before the class, so there's a lot rich information, and you have tried to answer the questions also elaborately. So congratulations to this group. Are there comments to this group or questions to them from other groups? Any clarification questions? From other groups? You can stop the screen share so others can. I see many. Pankaj Madhu, you're part of this group, right? So you were.
I was part of the group. I just wanted to make one point very specific over here is that, cost benefit analysis is, of course, it is difficult to do. And then we need to have some kind of evidences also, but it's a very, very strong, advocacy tool. I mean, I would say that it's not just for the government, but also for the private sector. When we discussed in our group that, since our city is not that rich, we may need to, mobilize funds from the private sector industries over there. And if we are able to give that, cost benefit analysis to them in terms of, as Nagesh pointed out, rate of the property, or maybe, the opportunity for industrial growth, then I think it's a great opportunity if we are able to show that numbers to industries, to the local partners, that how sanitation can improve the overall well-being of the city, as well as, the financial, breakthrough for the different partners. So that remains a key for us. Thank you.
Very good observation, and see that you have gone to the main message of the wisdom of doing a cost benefit analysis. Yes, there's a hand up. Last comment. Yeah, go ahead.
So what I am pondering is, instead of calculating CBA for each and every project and for every city, why don't somebody establishes that CBA will always be positive for a sewerage or CWIS kind of project anywhere in the world?
Is that a comment or you're asking a question?
It's more or less a comment, sir.
Yeah. So, okay. So that's yeah. It's a nice thinking. See, we will when we wrap up, I'll make some general comments which also respond to some of these comments. Now we will go on to how many more groups? We have 2 more groups or 1 more group?
2 more groups left, sir.
Yeah. So who should be next?
Group 1, Biraja ma'am, would you like to present next? I can share the screen.
Okay, you can share. Okay.
Biraja, okay, so Dipanshu, we thought we are sharing, right?
Okay, I can go
Fine,
next.
fine, fine, you do.
Biraja, sorry, nothing.
No, please do.
Okay, just a second. Let me reset the timer.
Are you starting the time before our screen is on? That's great. Okay.
Sorry.
No worries.
I have to be honest.
Yeah. So, so city A, we have a 1 million population and not much has happened. So we are starting almost from the scratch. The first thing we want to fix is a citywide goal and objective outcome. To do that, we'll carry out a baseline assessment for city A. This will cover multiple stakeholders, and you can see all the tick marks of different people who will be interviewed, and data collection will happen. On basis of that, we will develop a shift flow diagram, and this will help the CTA administration to also plan better. When the CTA plan gets the baseline data and the shift flow diagram, there will be a city action plan defined. This will include participation of elected the ULB representatives and local community in plant planning, because that's very important to create the awareness. Roles and responsibilities will be totally demarcated, and decide on user charges or equity-based cross-subsidy, and the first is like whether there will be a 25% subsidy for discharging. All of that will be discussed. Post this, there will be also a pilot on dignity centers for sanitation workers. This is where we provide the sanitation worker with proper PPE, health card, etc. There will be identification and contracting of partners for implementation by the city administration. An IT-based monitoring system will be put in place. We'll have environmental clearance process, and then city administration special purpose vehicles will be put in place. And finally, there'll be an inline assessment after 5 years of our first phase. However, this entire planning process will happen in phases, but we did not get much time to divide it into phases. But it is happening in phases according to the goal and target. Next, please. So the institutional arrangement, as we said, the first thing we need to do after the plan is ready, we are establishing a specific PMU project management unit at the citywide level. There are coordination committee. This is where the city government, along with the private companies, UN, different NGOs and other stakeholders come in for the formulation of a state city-specific CIS policy along with all the data that we have collected through the baseline. We are establishing clear roles and responsibilities, and specific people will be given focal points so that there is enough monitoring that is happening. A clear grievance redressal system along with the telephonic number, and certain AI will be used for public monitoring. For monitoring and evaluation, obviously, along with the MI system, there will be also committee who will be in charge, who will be doing the regular monitoring at the field level as well. A specific knowledge management repository will be created, and this is where multiple partners like UN, NGOs, academic institutions will be supporting and capturing good case studies so that also keeps the moral high. Next, please. So in terms of financial mechanism, it will be a PPP model, and that's proposed with seed funding from the government. This is Swachh Bharat mission, but with a hybrid annuity model. There will be different possibilities that we will explore with the local CSR and also national level CSR organization. Just to come to the cost, we identified some of these costs. This is very rough cut. Baseline assessment will be around 50 lakh. This is for one time for setting up the whole plan. Setting up of an FSM PMU, this is 10 crores to cover an entire population in a staggered manner through FSTPs and also with a co-treatment facility. Capacity building for the internal staff of the city administration along with the ULB level people. This we have accounted for around 15 lakhs per year for 5 years. Setting up of an MI system, this will be a little high-tech using IT, IoT, related to FSM. This will be 50 lakhs one time, and 10 lakhs probably might be a bit on the higher track with the maintenance per year. We also envisage to set up an e-learning platform. This is for capacity development, and people come in and can do easy courses and get the certification done, and at all levels. This will be again around 50 lakh and 10 lakh maintenance. SBCC at household, this is 25 lakhs to 50 lakh per year, and FSTP will be around 2 crores and maintenance of 20 lakh. Next slide, please. The benefits that we are getting reduced burden on health system for 1 million people. We have estimated 30 crores per year. There is reduced mortality morbidity rate for sanitation work, and we have seen innumerable case studies which shows that it is a major issue, and this will be a benefit. Environmental benefits, including water quality, aligned with the Jal Jeevan mission, so that's a good one, and also easy to show as a benefit. Increase in employment of local youth, because there will be desludging activity, there will be FSTP managers, so at all levels. We could not calculate the cost. Increase in final recyclable product, because products will be developed out of these FSTP, STP. We are saying around 5 crores per year. Increase in local business. These will be toilet retrofitting, chambers, FSM technology, around 20 crores per year. It will definitely improve our mental health of the community. So that's a very big cost we feel and a benefit. Marketing arrangement for byproducts, getting big brands like Amazon or other ones for using for FS treatment, the products that we do, and there will be marketing as well. And finally, it's going to increase our tourism, because our CTA will be smashing at the end of 5 years. So 20 crores per year we are expecting. That's all I think. Thank you.
Wow, very good. Congratulations to the group. You again, I don't know if you were able to do all of that in the 30 minutes, or you had done homework.
30 minutes, Sitaram, 30 minutes. It was a mad rush. I mean, it is too less time to even think, frankly.
Well, congratulations. So you have shown that 30 minutes is not insufficient. You can do. So I like the can do. Right now Olympics is going on, so the tagline is "can do" for Olympics.
Yeah.
So congratulations. So questions, comments. I have also some comments for this group, but other members from other groups have any questions or comments? Anything to clarify? So from your group, anybody wants to add anything that, because you are rushing to keep the time, any final points or anything that you want to mention from your group?
Hema, do you want to come in on this? I think Shujoy's mic is not working. It will be great.
So please. Anybody from your group? Anything more to add? Okay, so it looks like everybody is okay. Is there one more group, Jyotsna? You said, yeah. So can we go to the last?
Sure. So, Biraja ma'am, are you ready?
Yeah. Please, can you
Yes.
show that slide? Yeah. So we had very small members participated. So we are merged in the 1 and 2 group was merged, and we have taken considering 3 minutes presentation. So we have 3 slides only. So in city, we have taken a city with a population of 1 million, and almost 0.3 million are staying in the slums. So around 30% of the population are in slums, and there we have a sewage treatment plant, and mostly fecal sludge is collected by private companies, and the authority doesn't have the information on how they treat the fecal sludge. So this is the background of the city. Next. So this is we thought of taking only 2 stakeholders first. Just we had a very cool discussion. It was not a rush. So so we have taken mayor and the commissioner, considering it is more of a policy level intervention is required, and mayor because it's the political representative and everything has to be approved by the mayor, and the commissioner we took as a leader and planning for every activity. So we thought of at policy and planning level to have a bylaw on fecal sludge septage management, uh, and at the commissioner level to have a city-wide inclusive sanitation planning for the planning for with adequate financing. It's not just planning of things to develop, and it has to be every part of it. It's not just profile development, stakeholder analysis, consultation with various stakeholders, inclusion of women, transgender, and also slum people, so different classes people, and have a robust citywide inclusive sanitation thing, and it has to be approved by the mayor at the political level, at the city level. So the institutional arrangement we thought of, the existing standing committee which already health and sanitation committee are there, so not to create another committee again for the institutional arrangement, rather to go for that committee and also it is to make more inclusive of that committee. Normally that is committee consisting of the political representatives, corporators, and things. So we can have some additional to make it a gender inclusive, class inclusive committee. I'm sorry. Can you show the presentation, please?
Yes, sorry, I lost the connection. Sorry, ma'am. I'm just sharing it.
So this committee, we thought of taking that existing committee, and also at the at political level, it's the committee, and second is the to develop a task force at the city level to plan and monitor sanitation activities. This is more of executive committee, and that is more of approving committee. Then for the capacity building of various stakeholders, though we have not taken many stakeholders as the example of stakeholders, but we will include the stakeholders in the second level of commissioners activity, more of local level, VLB level training program, exposure visit to the various stakeholders, including sanitary workers and others. And at the higher level, the exposure visit and regular training on FSM, and also on inclusive sanitation to the political representative. And the financial thing, as we consider around 30% of the population are in the slums, so we thought of having a budget demarcation for the sanitation in slums. So to improve at least 25%, mostly what we see, we say that it has been happened, but how it happened if it is not demarcated, money is not demarcated. So we thought of 25% demarcation of money for this thing, and also as a separate budget line for on FSM for dovetailing of funds from different programs, CSR planning, etc. And it is the responsibility of commissioner and leading them, and also to have a separate gender budgeting in this thing. And regarding technology, we thought of having the nature based and which is climate resilient technology and suitable for the city. It should be suitable for the topography and geographical location, everything of the city, and it has to be decided by finally approved by the mayor. And at the commissioner level, we thought of a co-treatment facility, whatever is there in the STBs, to enhance that and to have more knowledge with the different stakeholders to have the this thing, the functionality assessment, and also to improve that thing. So it will be and we suggested for a real-time monitoring of that activity and services. Next presentation. Next slide, please. So in cost benefit analysis, we thought of in the cost, we have not calculated money, of course. So CapEx
Ma'am,
and
sorry,
OpEx.
Ma'am, you have one more minute to wrap up.
Yeah. So CapEx, OpEx of the treatment technology, then cost of running of the campaigns, and social behavioral change thing, and also capacity building cost, project monitoring cost we kept, and design and supervision cost, and automation cost for the real-time monitoring. And benefits, what we are getting, social benefits, improving the life and livelihood, and public health benefits like reduction of waterborne diseases and mortality rate, environmental benefit, reduction of pollution, and reuse products from the treatment plants, and skill and improvement development, skill and improvement in the development. Yeah, thank you.
Very good. You've been so clear in the slides. Although only 3 slides, but a lot of information you have covered, and I can see you've also picked up very specific points which we have covered in the course to make your solution set. So this group also very well presented. Any comments to them or questions to them from other groups? Yes, there's a hand up.
Can I come in?
Context.
Yeah. So it's not a question to the group, but maybe a general kind of what do you say, add on to what we have been doing. I see 2 points here very important. The cost benefit analysis can be at different level, not necessarily you do at a utility level, but it can be like, for example, if you are setting up a social entrepreneurship, then you can have cost benefit analysis over there. If you are putting up a FSTP, you can also have a cost benefit analysis over there. And most importantly, as I already pointed out earlier, in terms of advocacy, if you really want to advocate with the households, and then we can also have a cost benefit analysis of saying that if you put, let's say 400 rupees per month or 300 rupees per month, or let's say in 3 years, if you put, 1,000 rupees or 1,000 rupees for desludging, then you are going to get this much of benefit in terms of money. Like, I'll just give you a very small example that for Swachh Bharat Mission, UNICEF did a study, and then we were able to show that a household can, save around 50,000 rupees per month, per year. In fact, if they, invest in the sanitation, let's say 12,000 rupees or something like that. So these are really very important things to, continuously show, to advocate at different level, and with the, interest of the different people. If I'm going to the household and I'm saying that, your utility can save this much, and then this is the cost, it may not actually work. But if I'm able to, direct with them and then say that, if you are going to put 1,500 rupees in 3 years, then your household can save X much of money in terms of, health benefits or whatever economic benefits in this much of time. So that's important if we are able to do it. So that's all, I just wanted to contribute from my side.
Okay. Yeah, general comments will come. I think we have time. I see some message from Dr. Malini. Is it about one more presentation or? I'm just checking. Then we'll go to Hema.
We don't have another presentation, sir.
So we have actually a demo scheduled. It is on the Swachh FSM portal. So post this, we have a 10-minute demo scheduled.
Oh, is that on the clock? We have to wrap up now, or?
Yes, maybe in next couple of 5 minutes, maybe if we can wrap up, we can start with the demo.
Okay. So there was a hand up. Yes, go ahead, Hema.
General comment, like we have gone through various scenarios. So because in some of the sessions, we have seen that there was a successful system created by a community-driven system. So if we can have a totally community-driven systems, then how to like with the help of self-help groups and also along with the administration. So how to we are having very few examples. So how can we go about more to expand such kind of community-driven systems which are more sustainable and also using the nature-based solutions and approaches. So we need to have more such systems. So it's a general comment, and using the like Orissa model, which we have seen, it was very successful. And then another, like there was study Sufi Khana, where we were having this community leaders and they were driving the system instead of handing over a contract to a private player. The community is entirely controlling it and like managing it as on a sustainable basis. So that's a general comment. Thank you.
Fine. So because time is very limited, so I will make 3 or 4 statements to just give an overall impression. First of all, congratulations to each group. It's not like a competition between groups. The idea is that when they presented, I think we all learned how others were working on the same topic. It's the same assignment given. some modification, but each group did something very differently, and even presentation, the detail. Some of you got very interested in one item. Somebody else worked on some other item very well. But I hope you will share the presentations of each other and we learn. If we have more time, we can do this exercise. Just to summarize, in the last cohort, you are the second cohort, last cohort, we just did only the simulation of the various parameters in the cost benefit analysis, just to introduce cost benefit analysis. We still have that Excel sheet. We can share that with you. What Professor Jisheng has done, you can play with it and we can share that with you if you are interested. Now, in this group, we try to push a little further to give you a very specific assignment for you to do. And so you can also share that feedback offline later. Was this useful? How did you benefit and what you gained? So that's something that you can give feedback, because here we also want to know when we prepare for the next cohort. We still have 2 more cohorts like yours who will be attending this course for 10 weeks. The third point that I want to make is the understanding of cost benefit analysis is very important when you approach any development project. For sanitation, this is even more important. For some development project, it looks very obvious, but projects like sanitation, it is not as easy, or rather, the cost benefit analysis may tell you why the challenges are so difficult to solve, why it's difficult to put government funding, why it is difficult to get support from people. In fact, all of the problems that we have in implementing the project, you can connect the reasons through a cost benefit analysis, which we can have a full session on it to understand it. So the cost benefit analysis is a kind of connector of all the issues, because at the end of the day, if you like something, you will pay for it. Or rather, if I have to sell you something with a price, I have to make sure you like it. I mean, that's how the world of business operates. However, when it comes to government, we assume that it's my entitlement and somebody has to give, but still somebody else has to pay for it, even if it comes from the government budget or tax or international organization. So we need to understand the cost and benefits, and there are many standings, and that's what you all alluded to. So it depends on who you are, and then you understand it differently. As a common citizen, we have a different understanding of the benefits. As a government, we may have a different understanding of the benefits. As a private sector, we may have a different understanding of the benefits. And based on that, we will approach the solution also differently. Now, there were some general comments about nature-based solutions, how to account for environment, and then how to look at various levels of the cost-benefit analysis. There is a lot of literature on this. I will share the links with our team, ASCII team, and then we can add it to the literature. There's a lot of literature on all of this. But today's exercise was not to, again, overburden you with a lot of theoretical literature knowledge. That's not the purpose. The idea was, by doing something, you realize that it's not that easy to actually frame a solution. That is something you have done. But it is also important that you put a finger on specific issues and then pursue them. So I see there were some recommendations about budget allocations. I see there were recommendations about an apex body to be formed. These are very important recommendations. And as you can see, I saw also somebody talking about co-treatment. So you're all putting some very nice keywords. These were all in our course. So in a way, this is not the end of the course. It's actually a beginning of your journey when you are going to, after 10 weeks you committed, you're going to use the knowledge. So use of knowledge is a long journey. And it may take you several years to actually declare success, because you're going to work on a real project, construct it, supervise it, get it done, and show it operational. It takes a long time, as you saw in the Tamil Nadu case study here. That was done in 3 phases. So it takes a long time. So it's important that you gather and take these learnings with you. And that is the main purpose of this exercise today. So I thank you all for the time. We have fully utilized all the time. So I hand it back to Dr. Malini and Professor Chari.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much for this concluding remarks. I think this is the perfect way to wrap up the course with these words. Absolutely agree, Virajaji. Perfect and encouraging words. To actually, I don't want to use the word wrap up, but concluding remarks, excellent. Thank you so much, sir. So, so one of the other points that all the participants have been asking us is where can they source relevant materials on a continuous basis for continuing their journey of learning. So while all the materials that we have developed for the program, we will definitely make them available to you on a Google Drive so that those of you who have not really accessed LAN or are finding it difficult, you can just download everything from the Google Drive. So we will do that. Apart from that, the NFSM Alliance has also put together a knowledge portal which is being updated, and it has material from all the partners of the Alliance and beyond, India and outside. So therefore, it'll be a resource, a portal where you can visit regularly, and it has materials ranging from DPRs to compendiums to videos to everything. So to help you get oriented to that so that you can start using it, please join me in welcoming Mr. Naitik, who belongs to an organization called ACES. I think I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. Naitik, please correct me when you start your introduction. They have put together this portal, and he will take us through the entire portal. And yeah, as Professor Chari has mentioned in the chat room, this portal is will be hosted under the Ministry of Housing Affairs website, and it's owned up by them. So over to you, Nathan.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Malini. Good evening to everyone here. I'm Naitik, and I'm from Akis Innovations, and I will be presenting the Swachh FSSM portal and giving you a quick demo of what the portal looks like on behalf of the NFSSM Alliance. I thank Dr. Malini and Professor Chari for having us here today. So hope you're all safe and doing well. And this portal has been in construction for about 2 years now. And as Dr. Malini rightly said, this portal hosts a lot of documents, including DPRs, case studies, assessment plans, etc. And I will be taking you through the portal. However, before we discuss the portal, it is important for us to understand that what are the challenges we are facing with respect to FSSM in this country. As you see in this slide here, we did an extended study across many FSSM stakeholders, IAS officers, MHOs, technical people, commissioners, and in discussion with all of them and in discussion with city and state practitioners across the country, we understood and we were able to collate a few of these questions. Some of these being, how do we connect with other city officials? What are the best practices and learning that can be shared? As Dr. Malini rightly said, and a lot of you have been asking, where can you source these materials? These questions have been coming very often from the practitioners. Some other questions include, how do we get direct access to subject matter experts? There are so many subject matter experts in this country, but reaching out to them has been a challenge. Can we get customized solutions? A solution that probably has worked in a state like Telangana may not necessarily work in Karnataka because of a few bureaucratic issues. So they want to know what other customized solutions that can be used. Where can we access case studies, DPRs, open source collaterals, etc.? These are more questions that are coming in. And most importantly, a lot of these city and state practitioners have been spending a lot of time trying to find these documents, and they want to understand, how do we cut down that time? And it's with these questions in mind, through the exploratory study, we were able to sit together and plan this portal that I will be showing you. And this is where the challenges come in, and what we built in consultation with these cities state level practitioners, what we built is a solution that tries to overcome these challenges. And now that we have the objectives clear, what I want to show you this one second. Yeah. Right. What I want to show you here is that this is what the portal's three main agendas are. Firstly, we have the quick search. Second, we have the repository. And third, we have the help desk. One thing we understood is that the different users who come to this portal, each of them have a different proficiency level. There might be users who have 3 to 4 years of experience in the FSSM domain, and there are users who may be new to this domain. And we understood that each of them, the way they will be looking at information is going to be very different. And that's exactly why we have built these three avenues, wherein experienced users who would understand the keywords, let's say co-treatment or septage, they may come and type the keywords in the search engine that you see on the left side, and they will access these documents. Whereas newer users who don't really know the keywords but understand which profile they belong to can look at the repository over here. There are several profiles, and they can click on one of these profiles to access necessary document. And lastly, but most importantly, the help desk, wherein people can come ask questions, and usually where asking and reaching out to subject matter experts may have taken a few days to sometimes even a few weeks, will be cut down to 2 to 3 days time in with the help of this portal. Now, before I move to this next slide, I want to give you a quick demo of what the portal looks like. Is everyone still with me? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see. We can see the presentation. Yeah, we can see the screen now here.
Okay.
Website.
Right. So this is what the landing page of the portal looks like. There is the quick search repository and help desk. And as we scroll down, there is a little about the NFSSM Alliance. There is FSSM at a glance, tenders, a discussion board, latest news, and I will be going into each of them separately. And here are some very recent documents that have been uploaded in collaboration with the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. This is what the landing page looks like. Now let's go to this specific quick search and see what we can do here. I want to take the same example, code treatment. And the moment I say code treatment and I click on search, what we have actually done is we have integrated this search with a Google search engine, and you may see a familiar Google search interface. And based on the particular keyword, what we have done is we've used Google to crawl through this entire repository to find all these documents which are related to quick search. Similarly, if I click on advanced search over here, what happens is that the same search category, I will be able to add different filters. For example, I want to add ASCII. And the moment I click on search using a filter, we will see that there are many documents that only ASCII has uploaded will be seen over here. So there are several documents, and if you see, all of them here have been indeed uploaded by ASCII. Similarly, we can add as many filters as we can. And the objective of this particular advanced search is for any city or state level practitioner to be able to find documents easily to bring down the overall time taken. Another important feature of this repository of this portal, as you saw, was the knowledge repository. What you see here is the government, technical, private, academia, NGOs, and general citizens. These are different user profiles. For example, if I click on government, national, and state level, you see that there are several categories that we have added. What is FSSM, FSSM in India, latest FSSM news, etc. Now, these categories for a government state level practitioner is very different from that of a general citizen, for whom it's very simple. It is what is FSSM, FSSM in India, and general citizen involvement in FSSM. So in consultation with these end users or the city practitioner, we were able to understand what the process flow for each user looks like. And based on that, is what we built here. For instance, if I go into
Naitik,
planning.
sorry to cut you. Maybe you could go to the help desk. Maybe that will interest the participants more in the interest of time.
Right, sure. Is my screen still visible?
Yes, we can see.
So what you see here is the help desk. Yeah. So what you see here is the help desk. As I said before, the objective of the help desk is to be able to have the practitioner ask questions which can reach out to the subject matter expert and have the subject matter expert respond to them with a particular answer in a short duration. So that's the overall objective. So while I'm doing this, I request if there are any, maybe we have 1 or 2 volunteers who can help me here. I just need them to access the portal and do something along with me. Anand, it would be helpful if you can share the link in the chat.
Yes, Naitik, it's shared.
Right. Can I have 1 or 2 volunteers who can unmute and say that they would be willing to volunteer? It can be someone from the ASCII team also. That would be helpful.
Sure. Yeah, we can do that.
Right. So what I want to do is, I just want to show how this ask a question module actually works and show how this would actually appear on the front end. So what I'm doing, and the volunteer can do this with me as well. Do I have a person? It would be good to know the name because that would be helpful.
I can put the question.
Right. Great, Jyotsna. Thank you. So what I'm doing here is that this is the help desk and I have a question about co-treatment. I come here and ask a question after co-treatment, can the material be used as compost? And Jyotsna, you can add any question as well, as simple as what is FSSM. And under theme, since this is a technical question, I'm selecting it as technical. I'm assuming that the person who is asking this, let's say me, I'm Naitik Bidari and I'm from Bangalore municipality. And let's say I am from the government sector. So I'm going to select my profile to be that of government, national, state. Jyotsna, you can go ahead and select themes and use the profiles accordingly as well. Now, as you see, my name and email is mandatory. So I will need to give my name and email so the SME can actually reach out to me. If you see, I have now filled this ask a question module and I will be submitting this. Jyotsna, I hope you were also able to. You can add your name and email and
yeah, I did submit. Yeah.
Right. So I have also clicked on submit, and the moment I click submit, one good thing here, which is something a lot of other portals may not really do, is that we keep track of who has sent the question, and we want to make sure the person who has asked the question also is notified about the same. So what I will do is I will go to my email, and here on my email, I have received a notification from the Swachh FSSM portal saying, there has been an activity noted and, your response has been recorded. Jyotsna, I think you may have received such a question as well.
Yes, I have received.
Right.
I think these are functionalities, Naitik. There are 1 or 2 questions. If baseline survey already available was a question.
Sorry, Dr. Malini, I couldn't hear you.
Are baseline surveys already available?
Yes. So basically, what you mean is the previously asked questions, right?
Yeah. I mean, these are backend processes, or that's all right, as long as everybody understands that there's a help desk and they will get a response. That's the point you're trying to make. And now the questions are more in terms of what is the material which is available there.
Right.
So, like Ms. Hema has asked if regulations are available. Mr. Sujay wants to know if baseline surveys are available.
Yeah. So Naitik, why don't you just give a, these are all back-end problems for you and for me. So we will deal with it later.
Right.
But when you go to the search function,
right.
Let's do a quick search for the benefit of everyone. Quick search is regulations. Let's say regulations. Yeah, and let's do this.
Right.
So
go ahead, Prof.
I think Himaji asked So we have loads of documents of various states where partners primarily from NFSM Alliance and also a couple of others, they have already uploaded the regulations of various states, be it UP, be it Bihar, Andhra, Telangana, Maharashtra, all those FSM related regulations are in place. So we can customize, you can review them, customize to meet your requirement, pick up some good practices from each of these regulations. And if you want to know whether these regulations have been operationalized, whether they are actually working on the ground, that's not captured in the document per se. So that's where you pose a question to the discussion group. This is a group, help desk. So you have accessed a document, but you're not very sure whether really these regulations, we have hundreds of policies, but many a times they don't work. Now you can go to help desk and ask a question, in which state regulations have worked very well and why some regulations have not worked in a couple of other states. So that's a very tricky question which is not available on Google search. So you can pose that question. So what the system does, that's what, Naitik and all of us have worked together. It goes to an expert on regulation, subject matter expert. And the subject matter expert will look at the question and put together a customized response to you, hopefully in 3 days' time. So just to answer your question, can we go back again, quick search? I think, can we go to the quick search? And there is a very interesting question by Mr. Sujay. He asked a question whether, what is that, baseline survey. Just do baseline survey. Let's see if we can get anything. Baseline studies, yeah. Let's see. So Sujay sir, there is a lot of material available on baseline studies for the last 5-6 years. People, people have been working on baseline studies of hundreds of cities in the country. So that will throw open a shopping list. Now you want a very specific customized information, please go to the help desk and then pose a customized information. You want a very specific template on baseline survey. So you ask, can you give me a template which is in Hindi and which has been tested by NGOs? So that's a very specific question. Not that, we may have everything, but we will try. I mean, the whole subject matter expert is to put together a customized response. I hope that answers some of your questions. So that is why it has 3 components. Component 1, generic search. Component 2, very specific target group oriented. Suppose I am a philanthropic organization. If you are a UNICEF, you want to know, it's customized for a certain target groups. There are about 6-7 target groups. And then third is help desk, which is applicable for everybody. So I hope that this sort of structure is going to be useful for the practitioners as well as the development partners, including civil society organizations, because there is also a component of a civil society organization, citizens group component also as part of it. Malini, does it answer a couple of questions, what has been posted in the group?
Yeah, it does, sir. But I also have a question. Most of the time it's going to Google. If there are some documents uploaded, say survey formats uploaded by any of the partners, that will also throw up. It'll also come up, right?
Yeah, and I think what is the hierarchy? Will it be picking up our material first and then goes to the Google search, or how does it work?
Right. So to answer your question, Dr. Malini, even while we are looking at Google search, the Google isn't searching from the entire web, but is only searching from this particular portal.
Universe.
So Google has, sorry, Professor Chari?
No. The universe of search is the documents available on the portal, Dr. Malini, not the universal search. Our
Correct.
limited universe is this.
That's right. And based on Google's very, very refined algorithm, it looks into which of these particular documents respond to the word regulations or baseline studies the best, and the topmost search is the most relevant document. If you see, I can either sort by date or sort by relevance here on the top right corner. And furthermore, if the user requires a particular document specifically submitted by one of the partners or from across one of the states, all they would need to do is type in regulations, let's say law and regulation, and then look at a partner, maybe ASCII, or let's say in this case, NFSSM, and type in search. And in that case, only the documents that have been uploaded by that particular partner would be seen here. Here, I'm not really typing the right keyword, which means that under this, NFSSM hasn't really uploaded any documents. But for the particular keyword, whichever document or theme, there are several themes like community engagement, finance, inclusion and equity, or be it the value chain, containment, emptying, transport. We can add any of these particular themes and find documents.
Let me also put some disclaimers. We may not have all the answers for all the questions. That is where this this particular tool has to be co-created by all of us. So it's actually very, very important for participants in this discussion to share your documents to us, so that your documents will also benefit other partners, other institutions. For example, UNICEF has done a fantastic work on the cost benefit analysis of ODS. Now that document may or may not be there in this. So all I can say is that I think if you all of us can contribute in whatever way we can, that is number one. Number two, many of you in the group, and most of you in the group, can be requested as subject matter experts sooner or later. So the query will come to you, and then you can put together a response, and then there'll be another, there is a two-tier structure. First one, somebody will put up the draft and will go for a QA. Then eventually it goes to the person who's going to ask the question. Isn't it, Ranati?
That's right, Professor Chari. And once the subject matter expert has answered the questions, for the benefit of other people who may have similar question, we have added it as FAQs, and they will all be seen here. For example, the question which I had posted, and let's say Jyotsna is the subject matter expert. For the question I have posted, Ms. Jyotsna has said, given an answer and even given a link. And the moment I click on this link, the document in the portal also actually opens. So the subject matter expert can help the user actually reach their knowledge needs faster and better. That's the
also
overall.
Like what it means is it is archiving the earlier question, so that
the
next person need not ask. The questions are already answered by earlier, subject matter experts. So